Hey, it is Miss, and I am so glad that you are here. I'm trying to make sure I'm live. I have tried to go live twice. There I am, finally. I was just talking away. I wasn't even live, so sorry. That is why there was a delay, because I thought I was live and wasn't. So I said a lot to no one. So anyway, I'm so glad you're here. I'm excited. I've worked on the projects for several weeks. I've had to take a few out. We're still going to do them, but it was just too many to pack into 1 week. So I'm just super excited. So let me, without a lot of chatter, let me show you what we're going to do tonight. So this is the project we're going to do tonight. We're going to do the sign tonight, and we will do the, my hair's all wacky. We will do the bunny tomorrow night. So you can do just the sign. If you choose not to do the bunny, you don't have to. That's an add-on that I didn't even really plan, and it just kind of happened. So I had ordered this bunny from Craft Deals. I think it's like $3 for the kit, and or it might be less than $3 with your discount. But it comes with 2 paws, and they're kind of notched, and they fit over a a ledge or frame, and then the back part. So I sat it on top of the sign, and I loved the way it looked, and I ended up making it a whole project. So I just loved it. So do you love it? Throw up some carrots if you love it. So we're going to do this background, which is kind of like, it's kind of like a wood, like I put like little lines in it to look like a wooded background. You can do it plain, you can do it on black, you could do whatever you really, really like, but that's how I did it. So you can order this frame kit. I think it might be about $5. And then the bunny is like, it's either right under $3 or $3, but it's not very much. And then you can use my discount. Being Creative with Miss will get you a discount, and all the links are on your project sheet. So that is linked. So anyway, I don't have helper anymore. Megan can't help anymore. So Tracy and Beth have always helped. They're usually in the comments, and they have links and stuff that they can help with. So you'll probably see them a lot answering stuff, because they are like just helpers. So they're kind of like part of the team. So I guess that's what I'm trying to say. But anyway, you don't have to do it on a frame tonight. I am doing it on a wood, just a piece of wood, which is 8 by 13. And you can do it on wood and then frame it yourself. You can do it on a 2 by 8, because that'd be chunky, and he could go over the top of that. There's 3 options. You can do that too. I like the sign. I like it because I can just sit it. I use all 3 of those methods all the time. I interchange them. So anyway, that's what we're going to do. So we will get started. I hope you love him. I think he is so, or she is so cute. She looks like she is just peeking over the fence. I said fence, but I don't know. That's what I always envision it. Like she's peeking over the fence into the carrot patch. So it's a simple stencil. Like, it doesn't have a ton of detail, but at the same time, it is just perfect for this. So we will get started. I have your paint colors on your paint sheet. This is what the kit looks like when you order it. It's just like a 1/2 inch, and it has like the grooves cut out in the bunny. So that's what that looks like. So I was going to wash my stencil, and I forgot. I just pulled it out of there, and I'm like, I totally forgot that. So, but anyway, on your project sheet, I have the eyes on your project sheet. So you can trace those on your bunny. Some people worry about eyes, so I did that. But this has all your links. This is a couple other size frames that if you do decide to order from Craft Deals, those are some other sizes that we're going to use if you want to order everything together. So this is your stencil, and you can use, like, if you wait until Thursday at the end and order all your stencils, the Stencil Smith is giving just our group of gals a special code, which is carrot. And on Thursday and Friday, all day Thursday and Friday, you will get 20% off of your stencils. I have your stencils linked every night on your project sheets. Plus, I think I'm going to do just a stencil sheet, like in case that would make it easier to have it all in one place. I thought of that, and I didn't know. I think that would be helpful if I just had all of the stencils on one sheet. So anyway, we're gonna have lots of fun. So let's get going so we can get this done. I have some prizes for the week. I want to keep this so bad, but I'm not. But I was looking at it earlier. So you know I love swig mugs. I've told you that before. I gave some away in Christmas in August, or August Santa's workshop. So this one has carrots and bunnies, and they're my favorite drinks. They keep them cold or hot for a long, long time. But inside of it, this one has a carrot pen and some carrots for Hobby Lobby. We're going to use one of these. We're going to paint it. We're not going to use them the Screaming Orange. We're going to paint that and put it in the middle of her bow. You have some little wood cutouts, which is glasses and bow ties. And I think there's little carrots down in there too. And then this is a base painter brush from Stencil Smith, which is a really, I forget how much they are. Like, that's a really big deal. But I love them. They base paint something in no time at all. It covers, and it doesn't leave marks. I love it. I keep one, a black one, and one in cream and white in a baggie, all with like a freezer baggie down in another freezer bag, just so I can always have one handy when I'm base painting. And this is a 1/8" stencil brush. So that cup has a lot packed in it, a lot of value between the cup and the brushes and stuff. So that's really fun. So that will be one of our prizes this week. And then I have 2 bags like this, and I'll just show you this real quick so we can get started. But they have a stencil brush in those, some inks that we use, the distress inks, and some wooden things like wooden carrot tags, a blending brush, and I thought it had something else in there. So anyway, those are fun. So there's 2 of these, and I don't know what else I'll add for the week's over. But anyway, that is some fun things that I thought would be fun to give away. So that'll be fun. So make sure you're in the comments and, you know, comment things, and be active. Be active. That's what it takes. And I would appreciate it if you would share the live. Like, it helps so much, like when you share things. And that I appreciate that so much. Okay, and don't forget your project sheet has all your details in it, so you can have that at your disposal, so you can refer to it. So let me set I put all my crafts. I got all my projects are in containers stacked up for the week. So I have all the things. Let me sit down. So I'm probably way too high now. Okay, so I'll put the camera down, and I have my board base painted, and we'll get started on that, and I will show you how to do that background. It's not anything hard by any means, but I think they're fun to do, and I just enjoy doing them. So anyway, thank you, Anne. I appreciate you sharing, and I appreciate anyone that did. I haven't seen the comments prior to the sitting down, so Cindy did, thank you, and Sherry, thank you. So I think it's fun to give away the prizes. I hope. I don't know if it's always what anyone would really like, but I try to pick stuff that you would like. So let me bring my light, or my camera, over now. Did you guys see my reel this afternoon? If you didn't, you should go look at it. Did you? I kept thinking, I'm not going to show them my table. They'll think I'm just like terrible. And then I was like, you know what? Theirs probably looks the same way. I don't know. So I decided I'm just going to do it, because I was getting ready to post, like, don't forget, you know, that I'll be live. So, well, shoot, I had it and then moved it. So I went ahead and posted it, and then I was like, oh, messy. I probably shouldn't have done that. It looked terrible, but it's cleaned off now. I even took everything, like wiped it. I need to probably bring a magic eraser up, but it is much better than it was by a landslide. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get this. There we go, uncockeyed. Okay, so when I use this frame and use this one is a little bit short. I grabbed the wrong one. The one you need is 8 by 14. Like I said, it's on your sheet. But this was a little bit short, and I grabbed the wrong one. And then because you have to leave allowance for the frame. But when I use this, I just use one of these boards for my lines. So I'm just going to use this tonight. You can use a ruler, you know, whatever you have will work. So let's get the thing. So I base painted it light buttermilk, and then we're going to use some espresso to kind of make some lines and kind of make it look like I kind of want it distressed, and then my lines, I don't know if you can see them on camera, but they're like faint across there. And I just think it's fun to do that. I don't do it. I used to do it quite often, and then just kind of don't. And I thought that would be fun to do on this. And then we use some spackling on this. But fun. She is so cute. I keep saying he. She is so cute. I'm sorry. I keep moving the arm of this dumb thing on you, which makes it move around. But I feel like I'm not all the way in frame. And then when I move it, I move it the wrong way. So, I don't know. Okay. So we're going to go ahead. I wish I could set that where you could see it, but I'll just have to set it right there. Alrighty. So, I'm going to use a chip brush. You can use one smaller than this. I used to have them all the time, but I don't. Like a 1-inch one would be fine. But what we're going to do is we'll use a little distressing ink as well at the end. But first we're going to use this and kind of go across as our lines. So a ruler would be fantastic to use. But I didn't know if I could keep my big yardstick in frame. Sorry, I had to get some glasses. I carried mine over to the desk, I think. Oh, there's a pair. I guess I had a pair over here. So we're just going to do this. So I like to use like a wet liner because I like it to be scant. So I'm going to put out a paper towel, and I'm going to I'll try to turn this so I'm going to try to space my planks kind of, you know, spaced even, but you know, they're not going to be exact by any means. So I'm just going to wet. I'm using an angle shader, which this is not one of my good Stencil Smith ones. It's just a angle shader because I don't want to rough up the edges of one. But I like to use an angle shader. I don't know why, but I always have, and I just like how it drags the line, I guess. So I'm just going to drag this along, and I'll have to move this, which is not ideal. I would rather not have to, but it's fine. And you can go back in and reload when you need to, if you need to. But I'm just dragging it along. And if it gets too solid in place, what do we always do? Just sand it. We'll just sand it off. I have that too wet and smeared it there a little bit. So let me get in the paint again. So I want my brush wet, but I don't want it wet like floating wet. And I think I just had it too wet. So But you know, definitely wipe some of your paint off. And you can rub it, like sometimes I'll rub it with my finger so it kind of will make some parts of it disappear. So that's, like, I don't want it to be just like a strong line, I guess. So then this is where it gets a little bit tricky, because you have to try to, you know, space it. But it's, by the time you get it all done in grunge, it's fine. It is totally fine. Just add a little bit more. Move my board down a tad. And then again, I'm just going to rub that with my finger. And if you don't like this look at all, then just paint it plain. It will work just as well. And if you want to go back after you get this done and make any places darker, of course, that is always you know, an easy thing to do. Okay. Alright, that's a funny place in the woods. So now I'm going to bring this down one more time. It's not going to be, they're not going to come out to even little slats, but close enough. Let me make sure. Okay, so one more time. I'm going to move it down and then start at the other end this time. So if you feel like I said, I don't want it to take away from the stencil. I want you to be able to see them, but I don't want it to be super dark. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to kind of grunge it up a little bit on the edges and the sides and dry brush across it. And we're just going to use any old, you know, cheap, what are these called? I don't know why that just left me. Do you remember what they're called? Chip brush. I could not think. I kept thinking, what is this thing called? So they are so cheap. But you just put paint on. And this one's newer, so it's not as scraggly as it should be. Like, I like them when they get really scraggly. But I'm just pulling it like this. And it kind of puts lines across it. But you want that edge to pick that up. But we will also go back with distressing ink and do that. You can do it with your brush as well, but I kind of like to smudge it up with the distressing ink. So I'm just letting it pick up on that edge and then just bringing it across. And some, you know, pretty quick little swipes at it. But I just think it looks fun how it ends up looking. And to add a little bit of variation, I usually try to swipe like a gray or a darker brown or some white in there as well. That's always, I think it always looks good when you kind of build that. Okay, so I want some places a little darker and bolder down here. I love when it looks like that. And the other thing, you can take a smaller, or one of our dry brushes that are smaller, and kind of come down the line, which we'll do in a minute. Alright, so if you're working with one that's framed, if you get the frame kit, the frame comes in, you know, like a little tiny bit. So the frame will come in just a little bit. So what I do, if I'm putting an edging on it, I just take a piece of tape. If this is your board that goes underneath your frame, and I kind of tape that edge off and then pull from there, so it won't get covered up. If that makes, I don't know if I explained that right, but then that kind of, you still get to have a scrungy looking edge. And I want some up here at the top. So you kind of have to just pull it, let it catch the edge, but kind of pull it to you. And all right. So, we're not done yet, but it's getting there. The spattering helps a lot too. I think I just used the wrong color brown. Yeah, but so you can dirty it up, grunge it up as much as you want. You can put some stronger swatches in there. You can definitely have fun with it and make it look even, more primitive. But I'm going to put a little bit of white, just because I always think it's fun to add that little bit of white. And because, like, wood will weather a little bit, like wet, white, and gray. But I don't want a bunch in it. I kind of kept the colors warm, like on the warm side. But we'll throw a little bit in there. So I'm going to get a different brush and put some white in there. So this time I'm just swiping. So you can't see it a lot, but it looks just enough, like it just gives it some variation. I don't really want it on the edge. I'm just kind of more out through the sign. Kind of like that. And then I'm going to get in that gray and just wipe it off, because I don't want it a lot. I just want a few little places. But overall, it ends up kind of making it look nice and woodsy. All right, so there is our signboard. Now, you can leave it just like this. On mine, I smudged it more, which I kind of brought it in, smudging it more. You can do that with a dry brush, or you can just use, I like to use Gathered Twig or Vintage Photo or something like that. And you can just use like a blending brush to do that if you like that look. But you can kind of do that and just, you can pull it in a little bit and grunge that edge like that. I should turn that around, but I might play with that more after I get done. Well, no, I was going to say after I stenciled it, because I don't want to wipe it off, but that kind of puts another little smudge on there, and you can use that on the, like across the top and the bottom too. But I think it's fun to create those backgrounds. I think backgrounds are so fun. That's half the fun of it, for sure. All right, so there is that. What do you think? Do you like, or do you think that, do you think you just like it plain better? Thank you, Rena. I appreciate it. I just better move I just saw Rena spread the honey, but I haven't even looked up. Patricia made it. Marcia. The frames are from Craft Deals. They're on your project sheet, and Beth has a link for that too. And if you use the code Being Creative with Miss, you get an additional discount off of that. So you can do that. And we're going to use a couple different frames for some projects. So I put those sizes on your sheet too. All right, so let's get our stencil. So this stencil should have been washed, but it was not, it was not washed. And I have tape all over it. I forgot that part. Thank you, Angie. I like the grunge look too. I forgot. I put it in the little tote container with all my supplies for tonight, and I forgot that I did not wash my stencil. So, anyway, this backwards camera always throws me because I'm always out of frame and I never know how to get it in frame. So, okay, so we're going to center this in the middle of this. Like I said, this is a 1x8 board. And you're welcome. And we can just tape it down. So the stencil part is really easy. We're just using brown and lush green. If you like a different color green, more, maybe more like a brighter green, you can definitely do that. I picked lush just because I just like it. And I love the color espresso. Actually, I put espresso on there, but I just remembered, I think I ended up adding a little dark brown to that as well, because I decided I liked it darker against the background. So if you have, I did put espresso on your sheet, but you can use a darker brown or just add a tad of black to that. So I just now realized that I did not change that on the sheet. Hold on, I've got all my brushes under my thingy here. Okay, so we're just going to get going on brown. We will, I'm going to mix that because I added some darker to it. All right. Well, I hope you like that background. It's just, they don't take very long, especially if you're not talking while you're doing it. But they're just fun. They never, two of them never look quite alike. So, I tore my paper towels ahead of time, so I wouldn't have to, I could just reach over and get them. Well, I also laid baby wipes there. And the baby wipes got my paper towels wet, and you don't want wet paper towels. I like to keep my pencil brush or dry brushes really dry. All right, so I taped that down just so I can kind of keep it in the middle, but I guess I should look to make sure I actually have it in the middle. Let me hold it up. It's hard to look under the camera there. Let me see. Okay, here we go. All right, so we're going to do brown first. I'm just going to do the brown lettering, and I'm going to put some tape. I'm a wild stenciler. I'm messy at whatever I do. I just am. I used to get on my youngest son, Zach. He would kind of make messes at different things when he was little, and I would be like, Zach. And then I realized one day, he is exactly like you. Like, we're just, I don't know. I just feel like I could make a mess at anything. Now, our oldest son, Ben, is not like that. But I am. My Mark's not like that. Oh, goodness. Okay. So, I just uploaded my brown, offloaded. I just want to make sure, you know, most of the time when you get a bleed, it's usually because you have too much paint. You can always add more, and you can fix a bleed, like, it's fine. But it's definitely, easy. It's like you have a better chance of getting, a bleed if you have a lot of paint in your brush. So I'm going to darken this brown again just a tad. So I think this project is so cute, but I can't wait. I like all the projects, obviously, or I wouldn't have done them. But I am so excited to show you Thursday nights too. It's so cute. It's super cute. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought I had that dark enough, and I don't think I did. So let's go again there. But I try to keep a baby wipe with me, by me at all times when I'm stenciling, and you can clean up a lot of mistakes or messes. And if you've been around here for any length of time, you know that I am the queen of mishaps. I seem to just always be messing up something, so I can show you how to fix it, that's for sure. So I'm covering up, like, so I won't get in that green line, is why I keep moving tape or taping stuff. Because I don't trust myself. I'm not disciplined enough to just do little tiny swirls and stay right where I'm supposed to stay. So we don't have too many bridges to fill either. My stomach is growling. I haven't eaten yet. I told Mark, I said, just go ahead and there's leftover chicken devon or whatever, like, just eat whatever. I'm not gonna. I decided to have it at 7 tonight. I don't even really know why. I should have just kept it at 8 each night, but I don't know why I did that. But I just didn't have time to fix supper. I don't really cook like supper on Sunday nights, but I usually get something, you know, sandwiches or something. But anyway. So you could also do this in black if you wanted to do black instead of brown. But like I said, I tried to keep it very, I don't know. I just was keeping the colors pretty warm. And I just kept thinking that black would be fun to, or brown would be fun to use. But, all right, so it is dry. I am going to hit it with this heat gun. This is a Ranger Craft It tool. It doesn't get super hot like a heat gun, and it's not as loud either. But so it does good with the stencils. Whoops! Hold that right there. Yeah, I think I probably should wash this stencil. Maybe I'll do really good about keeping my stencils washed, and then I don't do good. Like, I just go in spurts. I guess it's like everything. My room will stay halfway, my craft room will stay halfway decent, and then it goes to the birds. It goes to pot. However you want to say that. I keep grabbing those paper towels and they're wet. Well, I appreciate you all joining me. I think it's always fun to have a craft week. It's a lot of work, and then it takes up a lot of time each day. It's just like you have to dedicate the week to that. But I always feel like it's fun just to kind of to share some things and some painting tips, and I have a good group of gals in here that are fun to do that with. Okay, so we can keep it just all brown like that. And you can see it has some variations. You can also see where which it'll be fine, the green will cover it, but that was part of that green line. But if you want to, with the stencil down, you can go back and do a little dry brushing in it if you would like. And I don't really think it needs it. I kind of think it looks fine as it is. You can dry brush the white or the cream. It's not really going to show on the background, but of course the black would. So I'm going to take my same stencil brush into some black and wipe it off really, really good. And I'm just going to go on the right side, like where there would be a shadow on some places. I'm just going to kind of give a little squiggle here and there with the stencil on, so I don't get out on that background. But like on the 5, you know, I want to kind of darken that end a little bit. Like I said, on the right, mostly on the right side of things. So it's harder to do that in the little letters, but you can give it a swipe if you want. But like, I'm going to give like around the end of that P, kind of around the little swirl on the C back there. All right, get that guy out of there. Yeah, so it just makes a little bit of variation in the color. And you can leave the stencil down and get a dry brush and do some cream if you want, or like cream or tan. I'm going to use the light buttermilk. But like I said, you could also do it without the stencil on, because the background's cream, so it's really not going to show up. But this is just a little dry brush. You could also use an 1/8 inch little stencil brush. Those are handy as anything. So I'm just trying to stay more, not really, I'm trying to stay more on the left side, but I'm also just kind of going around with the curves of the letters. It just makes it not look as flat. So we'll do a little here on the 5 and a little around. And then when you take the stencil off, we'll fill the bridges, and then you can also hit it with this dry brush again with the light buttermilk in it, and it'll help blend your bridges. So that's always a handy little thing. But yeah, so I'm just kind of swiping it down and at least mark, so you'll see when I take the stencil up how that looks. I better look over here and see what y'all are saying. Yes, I just looked up. Cindy said the stencil brushes, Stencil Smith brushes, I can't even talk, are the best, and they really, really are. I've used a bunch of different ones, and I have those. I have them linked on your sheet, but I think they will set you up for success in stenciling. They make a huge difference. They're different than any other brush that I've tried. Okay, so let's see what this looks like. And I probably need to add some more highlights, but you can see like some of the darker, and then like on the darker on the 5, and you can kind of see that. So I'm going to put these stencil brush and dry brush with a baby wipe around it so it doesn't dry out, but I don't want to get it wet. That's the last thing I want to do. Okay, I ruined my liner brush, which is new, and I ruined it. So I may have to, well, I know I'll have to anyway. I have a little eyeliner brush, which I like to use these for scrappy things that I don't want to ruin my good liners for. But, I did something to the tip of it, and it is non-repairable. I have tried everything. So you just want to take a little liner and just, even though it takes just a tad of time, like, it makes all the difference in the world. And I also like to wet it a little bit. I just feel like it moves better, and I can fill in those areas better. But I first just try to close it, and then I'll go back and make it look better the second time around. I just kind of try to fill it in the first time. I actually hate having to do this when I'm live, because I'm always like, oh, I just don't want to take up time to do it, but at the same time, it kind of, it just makes all the difference. So, oops. So today is March 1st, and next weekend is Spring Forward, which I am so excited for. I love it when you have longer daylight and all that. But I want to know, tell me in the comments, like, do you still have some snowman stuff out? Because I do. My sister said that yesterday she rounded up all the snowman stuff she had left out. You know, like I always leave, I have a winter tree that doesn't have anything Christmas on it. It's just winter, like, animals, like deer, and I think there's a moose and stuff, but it's all winter, totally winter themed, and it's just white and neutral, and I really like it. It's in the dining room, but it's still up, and I need to take that down, but I just haven't, like, had my priority on all this stuff, so I haven't done it. But anyway, on the top of that, I've showed you the top of that cabinet when you come down our steps. There's a quilt cabinet that Mark made, and the top of it has all the snowmen on it and lights, and so just, oh gosh. But anyway, oh, and I saw when I was in Zach and Shiloh's room today, I had done a little display in there of snowmen, and I have it in the bathroom upstairs and on top of a cabinet and stuff. And I'm like, I've got to get all this put away. But who else has some snowmen out? Or have you totally, are you guys ahead of the game? And do you have all that put away? I'm excited. I'm always excited to decorate for spring. And I like to do it the first part of March because it's just a fun change. It's just fun to get to bring out all that stuff, and just the colors are different, you know. It's just springtime. Oh, I didn't do that one very smoothly. So I said I tried to fill it in first, then go back and shape it. Well, not this one. I just kind of got it all wonky and had to need some more water on my brush. Had to fill it in there. All right. We're cooking with gas. Almost done. So I saw Beth. I know Beth is in the house. Is Tracy in the house? Because I haven't even gotten to look up. I'm sorry, I'm looking up. Well, good, Nancy. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Well, actually, we are supposed to get snow tomorrow, a couple inches. But it like was almost 70, like 68 or 69 or something like that on Saturday. It was beautiful. And Mark went to the farm. I didn't go because I had all this stuff, you know, was trying to just get everything finalized for this event. And I wanted to go, but I'm like, oh, I better not. But Hank and I got outside. I brushed him. I walked him for a couple times and all that. But, gosh, it was so nice. And then today, it was so much cooler. Excuse me. It was only like in the upper 40s. But it was beautiful sunshine. And then tomorrow, it's supposed to all change. And then, it's supposed to rain practically the whole week. They said we could get a couple inches or more of rain. I'm like, oh man. So, that's not that exciting. So, even though I have snowmen up, we'll probably have some snow on the ground tomorrow. So, maybe it's not all that bad. So, I don't know. Are any of y'all supposed to get snow? They said yesterday, you know, like, yeah, no. They kept saying that we might get it, and then they said, no, they don't think then that was kind of like, no, that ship sailed, you know, it's just gonna be rain or whatever. And so then when I got up this morning, after I got ready for church, I was sitting at the table just drinking my V8 juice energy thing, and I was reading the weather, and I was like, well, wait, now they're saying we're supposed to get snow again. So, okay, I could go back and do those, like, do a better job at it, but you get the gist, and I'm going to leave it, and I can go back and do some more later if I want, but I'm going to move on because I don't want you just to have to sit here and watch me throw bridges, because that ain't no fun. But I definitely will take the dry brush back over it, because that really helps. Because, you know, not only does it help blend, but you've already done it to your other letters, and then it kind of looks funny when you have spots that don't have it. But I definitely would smooth some of those out more. But we are going to call that good. Okay, so we're going to get our little dry brush back out. And I'm going to get back in that buttermilk and just dry it off again. And now I'm just going to go anywhere. I mean, I can add it anywhere, but especially, whoops, not that heavy. Let me wipe that off some more. I don't think we want that much on there. So it will kind of blend those places in. But I can go back, like I said, and work on those. so they're blended a better. If I need to, because they're a little darker. Some of them are darker. All right, so I think we've got it. I love a good dry brush. It just adds so much. I kind of forgot to fix that O there. It's a little wonky. All right, so there we go. So now we'll put that back down and do our green, and then we'll move right on to our carrots. So I'm going to tape this M because, same reason, I'll end up getting brown in it if I don't. So I'll pull the tape off on the places that I had taped, and painter's tape is as handy as baby wipes. It runs a close second. So I'm just covering that just to make sure I don't get up there in that. Some of those really stuck. I don't think I'm going to get clear up there, but I'm just moving the tape and I'm just sticking it there because I already have it. So I'll just stick it on there. Oops. All right. So here's another close call, would be that cent sign. And the top of that C. Definitely this G because it runs right into it. So I'm going to put that there. It takes a minute to throw some tape on some of these places, but it's sure easier for me than having to worry about it. So I just kind of try to see anything that looks like I might get, you know, crazy around. That came against that G, I think. Hang on, trying to get that up there. Okay, I'll just have to pull that back over when I get there. Okay, so like I said, I use Lush Green. If you want a brighter green, definitely, you know, do that. Just pick the green as your, I put the colors on the sheet that I prefer and that I used on my project, but always, please always do whatever is your, you know, to your liking. Let me wipe my fingers off here, so paint all over. All right, so here we go with the green. So I'm just swirling that around. And you don't even have to use green. I'm sure you could think of other color combos to use. Again, I just picked these colors because I kind of wanted, I thought the green, you know, in the top of the green carrots and stuff, I just liked how all that would look, so that's why I used it. I have a big carrot sign. I'll show you that. I'll try to show you that tomorrow night. And I got the board for it at Hobby Lobby, and I want to show it to you. I have a couple, actually, I want to show you. I haven't done them yet. I just have them, the stencil laid out on it. But I really thought the board, I don't usually use boards from Hobby Lobby. Sometimes they're just not the greatest quality, and I've had trouble with them bowing and something like that. But these are heavier. They're like a tray. And they were fun. I think they're going to be fun. So they're not quite as polished. I think I like a framed, like an actual frame, but this one's so big. I'm doing it for the kitchen, and it's good size, and so I was like, well, that will work for that. Whoops. I forgot that to tape that R right there. I don't know if I got on it or not. But I'll show you those. And then if you go to Hobby Lobby, you might want to pick one up as well. even if you're not doing the same stencil project I am, you just might like to pick some up. I picked up some extra ones for other things too. So I thought they were fun. I found them by accident on the end cap when I was going back to the baking supplies to get some icing tips and stuff. We were making little mini cakes for church, and I just found them by accident. They're really cute. Alright, I'm going to go right there again. Then I can cover that. Make sure I don't get it in the G or the E. Alright, so you can go back again and darken that. I probably should have hit it with my heat gun real quick, but I did not. I forgot to say this on the letters. Usually, like if I have a bridge right here and right here, I try to usually go darker at the bridges, and it helps me blend those easier. I forgot to say that on the lettering, and I was hurrying, and I didn't even do that. But it does help. I feel like it helps, just for me anyway, when I fill bridges. Okay, I'm going back and just, oh, I hope I didn't cause a problem there. I'm just going back and darkening it. Let me take a look-see and see if it's dark enough. I think it is. So, I think it is. I said I think it is, and then here I go again. Just, woo. Oops. That didn't show up, thankfully. Well, I don't think it did. A little crazy there. Okay, so there, let's look that up. Isn't that pretty? I love the background. So same thing, I am not going to fill these bridges because I don't want you to have to sit and watch that. But I will fill these with the green, and it'll look really nice when that gets done. Now, one other thing I'm going to do to my lettering before we'll do the carrots and then we'll be done. I'm going to take, like I would prefer to use my Stencil Smith liner for this, but I cannot because I ruined it. But I'm going to water down a little bit of that. I don't want it real watery, but it has sat there and got a little gunked up. And on top of that, I do want it a little more inky so it flows better, because I just want some scant little lines. So what I'm going to do is the baby wipe, first of all. I just like to do this. I like to take it and just like go under some of my curved places, and then I stay to one side of my line is how I do it, but you don't have to do it that way. But I usually just try to stay to my, like I'm going to the right of the letters. But I think it kind of just adds a little bit to the lettering. And I love using stencils to do projects and to be guides on stuff. But it is really fun to kind of, you know, like when you do stuff like this, it kind of then makes it not so much look like a stencil. It just adds, kind of makes it look like more like you painted it. And I just think that's fun. So you can go inside. I need to fix the bridges on the O, definitely. But I like to go like under those swoops. And then, like I said, down, I'm going down the right side. I need to get my brush wet again. But that's a fun thing that that you can do to your lettering. So up the right of that too, a little bit underneath. You can kind of bring it on up. Just, you know, just kind of, you can just go all across. Even to be quicker, you can go, just stay to the right and go all the way across and then come back and do some underneath stuff if that's easier for you. I just always have liked how that looks. I don't think that came out right. So now I can come back and just do some other little places. It's almost like it's a little shadowing underneath there as well. So you can go on the inside. So that is, that's that. And then you can take your dotting tool, which we'll wait to the end so I don't, you know, smear that everywhere. But I did dot mine with some orange. But we're going to use some spackling. This is my favorite kind. I know you get sick of hearing me say that because I feel like it's what I mean, I always do say that. This is Paint and Patch. And I find it at Home Depot. It is the whippiest, creamiest. It is just like icing consistency. It's perfect. And so many spacklings are not. They're pretty stiff and they just have a different consistency. And they're more gray in color sometimes, and then if you have to add paint to really thin it down, that kind of can be a problem sometimes because, I don't know, it can be too thin. This one is just consistently. When we did fake bakes, Beth discovered it, like that it whipped the best, it piped the best, like all the things. So if you're going to buy some, I use it a lot in projects, but that is the kind I like best. If you can't find it, of course you can use whatever you can find, or if whatever you have, or whatever you prefer. But we are going to add some orange paint to that, and we're going to make our carrots stand out. So I use jute in the top of my carrots. Then I frayed the jute. I kind of think I like raffia better. I've used the raffia and the jute. I kind of like the raffia better, but you can use either one. So I just painted the jute, and then after it dried, I separated the little threads. But we'll do jute just so you can see both ways. And then on another project, we're going to use raffia. How quickly this table starts looking like a cyclone again, because when you're live, you just keep flying through everything, and it just starts looking awful. So I just cut some pieces. I hope I was in view. I just cut some different, they don't have to be same length. Some can be longer, but you trim them up afterwards. So you can do it this way. I just kind of painted them and stuck them down in. You could also stencil on the carrot tops and then just spackle, and they could kind of look, the carrot would kind of be bigger depth than the other. But let me see if I have enough. 1, 2, 3, 3. I don't know if I do. But I really like to just add stuff like this, and it looks so, it's just fun. It's just fun to elevate the look of it. So what I do is you can just lay those down. And like I said, they're all different sizes. And I'm just going to take a piece of tape and tape it like that. And then I'm going to, well, I don't know what I did with my tray that I had just had sitting there. I don't know if I knocked it off or what I did. Well, I'll use this one. Well, actually, I can, never mind. I don't have to use a separate one. I was going to switch it, never mind. Never mind. Okay, I'm just going to take this sponge, and I'm going to go on the back side of it, and then and then just the top side. And that one came out of its little holder there. So I just gave them a real quick coat of paint. It's super easy to do that. Doesn't take but a minute. and then we'll unravel them after the spackling dries. That little bugger, he just wanted me to fly away from me. All right, well, I'm drying this for a sec. I'm gonna look and see what you're saying over here, because I am not. Whoops, that had black on it. Luckily I didn't get it on there. Surprise, surprise. Sorry, my head's under there again. Let's see. Oh, that melts styrofoam. I thought, what's that smell? I'm melting the side. Of course I am. I'd be disappointed if I wouldn't have done something like that. Oh my word. Okay. It doesn't have to be completely dry, but I think it's pretty much dry. Okay, so we're going to lay those aside. And now we're going to come back and flip down our carrot stuff. Okay, so I have the carrot tops taped off. And I'm going to tape these lines because I don't want to get spackling down in my green lines. Just put some more painter's tape out. I'm also, because I know me, I am wild with stuff. So I'm just going to cover it all. Okay, so now we're just going to, I probably have way too much orange. I just looked at that and like, well, how many carrots do you think you're spackling? Okay, so it's just so simple to do, but it's so fun. It's a great way to add dimension, and I do it all the time. If you saw my crow project with the Stencilsmith, and we did a fall event with the Stencilsmith, I did corn on a crow, which was really cool using spackling, and then in the winter I used it for a hat, the hat brim on the snowman. I think Beth just finished hers and posted a picture in the hive. What's buzzing at the hive. So you just kind of do that. This feels a little bit looser than usual, but you pick this up and it's not going to be perfect, but you will make it perfect. So when I take it off, I just take my baby wipe immediately. I lay it like on a paper towel. Hold on. So I just lay it down on a paper towel and then I just clean up real easy. You can even smush that back on, you know, if you wanted to save that. Since I mixed up enough for an army, I think. I don't know why, but I did. So I just wipe it off when I get done so it doesn't dry on there. Just give it a wipe, and it's that easy. And then while you're doing that, your carrots will set a minute. So it's going to get a little bit of a skin on it, but I'm going to help it along here and just dry the top of it. And then you can manipulate it a whole lot better. So let me clean my little, you can use like a plastic butter knife. I have metal, spackling, not spackling. I can't think of what in the world it's called. Palette knife. You'd think I had lost my brain. Anyway, I have metal and stuff. I don't know why I like this plastic one. It's a Ranger one. Tim Holtz Ranger. So anyway, then I think I added a lot of paint to that, which I didn't really need to, and I made it a little bit thinner, but as you can see, it does not matter. So you can take that, like with when I was talking about doing the corn, I thought that looked so cool. I thought it looked just like corn when it was done. That was neat. But it was just the same way, like it'll hoove up and stuff. And you just take it and you can push places down and kind of manipulate it if you need to. So I'm just going to do this a little bit. I'm just showing you this so you can do it. But then I'm going to stick my tops in and I'll probably have to do a little more up there. But I'm kind of pulling that down a little bit into the point. but it's so fun. And I'll take it and make lines across after we get our carrot tops in. Alright, so now, and don't pay attention as much like the lengths, because you'll trim it when it dries. You'll be able to trim it. Sorry, gosh, I looked up and just got my head again. So I'm just like, I just poke it in there, and then it'll dry like that. You kind of scooch them together. Kind of like I'm poking, almost like trying to envision like maybe one hole in the middle is kind of how I'm trying to say. I think I'm saying it right. Kind of like I'm putting this one in an angle, kind of like right up against that one, so they're kind of angled right. I probably don't feel like I'm making sense in saying that, but then you'll trim them. You'll untwine, you know, they're 3 ply, so you'll undo those, the plies, and make it unraveled. Gosh, words are so hard for me. I don't know why. So if it gets a little wonkadoodle, don't worry, because you'll be able to smooth over that spackling, because you have a little time before it sets up for sure. So I was a string short. I'm more than a string short, but I was a string short. So see how it kind of whopper jawed that one, but it's no big deal, because you can just go push that back up, push it around. I'm going to take this and kind of scoot those together. Yeah, and then you just kind of push it back up around the top. Same with this one, just pull it back up if you pushed it down a little bit, and then we'll smooth it across. But it makes a great like little raised piece. And then when it dries, which I'll come on and do that tomorrow, we'll paint the bunny tomorrow. Gosh, you guys, I am so sorry. I need to put a note on here. You can't even see what I'm doing because my head's in the way. Now, I'm leaning clear to the side. I'm sorry. So I'm going to tap those down, those ridges on the side again. And then I'm just going to kind of come across it. Well, first of all, I'm going to kind of smooth it like that. And then I'm going to kind of come across it so I can make some lines in my carrot. And you don't even have to. The dry brush will do it good enough. But I like to do that. So you can just, not that, I was going to say you can lay that, but I have glue all over it. You can lay the edge like a metal palette knife is really fine. But you can kind of go back and forth and just put some, and it may not show up a bunch now, but when it dries and you, there's my head again. Okay, I'm just going to lean clear over here. I will do better tomorrow. So you can just make some marks, and you don't want it totally smooth, so see how it's textured and stuff, because that's where your dry brushing will pick that texture up, and it just ends up looking neat. And then you just let it dry. And I will show you, we'll dot the letters real quick and then we'll be done. But so if you see how these are dry brushed, and you can see how the lumps and ridges just make it look more like a carrot. And then I just undid the tops. So, okay, so your carrots won't look quite as bright, and they'll be, there's nothing worse than a bright carrot. And then you'll also, what was I going to say? I don't know what I was saying. Who knows? Oh, it'll give it dimension, and you'll shade it and highlight it, and it'll just look so much better. Okay, so you can do this with cream if you would like. I did it with orange. I don't know if you like it or not, but I just went and dotted some places. It doesn't stand out like crazy, but it stood out enough where I thought it was kind of fun to do it. So I just always have staggered it when I've done it. I've always loved to dot the letters. And then I just kind of go up on some of them, down on some of them. This one I'm going to do top and bottom. I don't always do that on letters, but yeah, just kind of pick where you want it. Whoops. I smeared that, like 2 of my dots ran together, so I'm going to wipe that off and do that again. Okay. Whoops. I got the wrong dot. Yeah, so I just liked how that looked. So what do you think? Do you like it? Are you a fan? Or what? I call it the patch peeker because she's peeking over, eyeing up Mr. McGregor's patch here. Do you remember, some of you that have been here for a while, do you remember when we made no-sew carrots? I wish I had that video and I don't. I sure wish I did. So, like, I will go back and fill those bridges on the green, and then when that dries, we'll fix that up. But there it is, cute as can be. I love the background. I think it looks kind of neat. And see, like, that's where I put some of that gray, and you can see some of the white. It just kind of gives that background variation. And like I said, the tops on the carrots look wonky right now, but I promise you they will look better when we get them all separated and all that. So you can go back if you want to cock one out or move one. You do whatever you want before it dries. You can tap that down with your finger a little bit. The longer it dries, that, you know, it gets that little bit of dryness on the top, and you can manipulate it better. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Pam and Cindy. Thank you. Thanks. So I'll have Mark frame this out with lath, maybe. I could probably use lath, and then I'll add the bunny on top of that. So you can use a 1x8, 8-inch wide lumber, you know, from the store and frame it out yourself, or you don't even have to frame it. Or you can use a 2x8. You can make it, use the bunny on top, or just do it plain. It's pretty by itself as well, or you can do it like that. So that is your options. So that was fun. So tomorrow night we will paint the bunny. And like I said, I did put the eyes on your project sheet, so you can trace those on if you don't feel confident in doing it. But it's really easy to paint, and then we'll make a bow, and we're going to use these carrot bunnies carrots from Hobby Lobby. They're just felt stickers, but we will paint them. We will paint them up to look, you know, like a carrot, like not this crazy. We will use paint and make them look the same as these, and you can add that to her bow if you want, or you can use a button in the middle of it or whatever. But I haven't put anything in the middle yet because I thought we would do the carrots. So thank you, Cindy. I appreciate it. Thanks, Janet. Yeah, it does, doesn't Teresa? I think it does. It does add a lot. So, oh, I miss all the old videos too. I need to order a drive, and then I need to send it to Zach's house and see if him and Shiloh will download their drive that has all the videos on it onto one so I can have it, and then figure out how to manipulate that so I can pull stuff off of it. Because I would love to have that carrot project, and there's just a lot. There's just a lot of them that I wish I had access to. Let me flip you up there. So anyway, here he is, completed. This was ours tonight. So I hope you thought that was fun. I hope you can see it well. But I was going to go back and sand a few places on those lines. Lines are so hard because you just get going. You just try to keep moving, and then you forget to do some of those things. But Hank's at the door trying to get in. So, but anyway, your project sheet should be helpful to you. Thank you to Beth and Tracy for always helping in the comments. And I appreciate all of you. I appreciate all of you that shared and stuff. And I'll look through comments and stuff, and we'll pick winners. And I'll try to do one. I don't know if I will be able to. I don't know if I'll be able to do them every night. I'll probably I think I'm only going to have 4 things. So we'll probably try to do one a night. So Hank just broke in and he's excited. But anyway, thank you for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. And I will see you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. So set a reminder on your phone. And if you want to order a bunny or a frame, make sure you get that order in so you can get it on its way to you. So thanks a lot, and I'll see you tomorrow night.